thank you very much for this pleasure to present to you 5 minutes of what's been happening with Generation Z and how they have been influencing the way we design mixed-use development. Generation Z are essentially the under 18-year-olds, and they will represent 20% of the workforce by 2020. They are multitaskers for both those of you who have kids, lots of different things on the screen. They like to live and work in a very immersive way, and social media and technology will have the biggest impact in the way we design. So an incredible generation of people who will have perhaps multi-jobs, many different careers throughout the year, the slash culture. They like to work in a very, and travel in a very immersive way. And this award-winning project currently under construction, ITC in Shanghai for Sun and Kai Properties, does exactly that. A very immersive way, blurring the boundaries between travel, arrival, MTR, and retail. This project spans over a number of lots, huge project, 10 million square foot of retail mixed use. And it really has been designed around Generation Z and millennials. So quite an incredible scheme with lots of rooftop spaces. Now, perhaps you don't know, but, well, it's pretty obvious. Spaces are becoming smaller, and Generation Z want more outdoor spaces. So many of our projects are designed to maximize the use of all the rooftops and the gardens and the balconies and blurring the boundaries. That's the theme. Blurring the boundaries is the theme for this entire conference. Blurring the boundaries between public space and private space. Very, very important. Even in our buildings, our tall buildings, we have pockets of shared space at high level, and this is very important. So it's not only shared space for individual units, it's actually merging the spaces, hotel, office, retail, all come together in a very, very exciting way. Now, in recent years, the concept of the shared economy has taken off. We work, we live, Airbnb has all transformed our perception of this collaborative consumption of space. We're finding mixes of all sorts of things happening. We're finding offices becoming Uberized, meaning they have no address. And it's quite incredible because offices can pop up anywhere. And it's all down to the way technology has transformed and allowed us to go back to original ways of building and designing our cities with shops at the ground floor and offices above and maybe some shoffices, which is the home office at the top. In fact, they're now stroffices, which are street shop offices. So all of these new concepts are now being developed because of Generation Z. And this is the path. This is how millennials and Generation Z walk around spaces. They don't go in straight lines. They pop up anywhere. Their offices. This is the future office. It's just an iPhone sitting in a coffee shop. Don't you think it's amazing when you go into a Starbucks at 11 o'clock in the morning in the city, and the question comes to mind, is it an office or is it a coffee shop? Blurring the boundaries. This is the old path, how you'd walk through a traditional shopping center. This is the new path. Generation Z, they want to explore, they want to discover, they want to socialize. They want to connect. It's a very, very different diagram. And spaces are becoming compact, and we're now looking at the concepts of co-working, and we're bringing that into retail. So for this project we're doing in Shenzhen, we're actually creating co-share retail spaces where individual tenants, which they were not even tenants, the e-tailers from online, are now brought together to use and collaborate and work within individual shop units. So it's becoming really, really exciting. And this 20th century painting of Crystal Palace in London actually says it all. Is this a museum? Is this a shopping center? Is this a cultural venue, a library, a theater? It's exciting. And that's what we're finding. We're finding all of this richness is actually coming back into our buildings to accommodate for Generation Z. So Sky City, a new project we've just won in Hong Kong, a super connector. People come by air, by rail, by car, by sea. This is hundreds of shops. This is not a shopping center, hashtag. Experience theater. We're also doing another project in Hong Kong, which is really our CSR project, which is creating a 23-kilometer walk around the harbor. It will allow 1.7 million people to have easy access within a 10-minute walk to the harbor, so you can walk and cycle and run to work. And this sort of project explores all the pop-up opportunities for not only retail, for cultural events, pop-up theater, bicycle storage, and 60% of Hong Kong waterfront is actually inaccessible. It's absolutely mad. Hong Kong has one of the most spectacular waterfronts in the world. We actually won a German design award for this, and I'm worried that tourists might come here, but it doesn't really exist yet. But the idea of pop-up, the concept of flexibility, adaptation, and change is very, very important. This is a project we're doing for we've completed for Go Capital. The image on the bottom are the before, and the ones on the top are after. And it was an old department store that was just completely empty during the day. We worked with our clients and realized soon that actually there are thousands of people here, it's just that they're in the offices. So the big idea for this project, which actually won a MIPIM award last year, was to bring some of the office component into the retail. So we're now blurring the boundaries, bringing office, all those pods, all those capsules, those boring meeting rooms that happen locked away. Why not bring it into the development so that you irrigate the central space with people? And it's the first building of its kind to get a LEED Gold certification for converting retail into office. So a very, very different concept. And it's really about thinking outside of the box. It's really about looking at ways in reinventing our building to accommodate this fast adapting change, these new people who are now existing, the under 18-year-olds that will represent such a large percentage of our workforce coming on in 2020, in just a couple of years' time. So we think connectivity, immersive retail, immersive travel experience, getting there in a very dynamic way, and creating buildings. This is another building that we've just completed. This one is in Chengdu. Creating buildings that are meaningful and memorable. Because I think Generation Z, they're quite sophisticated, and they want to have places that they can, an Instagram moment, which is the new postcard. They want to have places that are super, super memorable. Thank you very much.